So this video is going to be a little bit like of a change of pace. Now, usually I commentate while I'm playing, but for this I really wanted to talk about every point that I want to get across. So I wrote out everything that I want to talk about on the good things, the bad things, and the things that Marathon needs whenever it fully comes out. You know, we're going to get the bad out of the way. It is not nearly as bad as these people on Twitter, as these people in the comments that haven't even touched the game are trying to make it out to be. I think overall, my personal opinion, playing with the friends that I played all my games with, whether it's Destiny, whether it's Warzone, whatever it is, and we've thoroughly enjoyed it. This is a very bare bones experience of what it's going to be on launch. And we've thoroughly, the gameplay loop of this game is addicting. We're not talking about good. We'll get to that. We're going to talk about bad. We're going to get bad out of the way. First point I had at bad was the environment outside of POIs and just outdoors in general. And I'm 99.9% sure that this is just an alpha thing. They've already stated that outside of like the indoor textures and those assets, the areas in between POIs are basically like placeholder textures. So that's something that absolutely will get fixed whenever the game comes out. But as of right now in the alpha, I can't act like it doesn't look like Play-Doh. Once you're inside a building, you're in the tunnels, wherever you are, it's gorgeous. When you're walking between POIs and you're in like a grassy field, does not look good right now. You know, we're going to get the big topic out of the way, and that's mouse and keyboard aim assist. I've been playing the game on mouse and keyboard. I think it just feels better on mouse and keyboard. I also play Destiny on mouse and keyboard, but a big thing is they have magnetic aim for your mouse. It needs to be toned down significantly. I'm very on the fence about it. I'm leaning more towards I think it needs to be toned down significantly and or only work on the bots or the AI or like the PvE part of the PvPvE, and then it's fine. But because I'm on the fence, if they're just like, yeah, no, we got enough feedback, we don't want to keep that. I'm fine with it going that way too. Like either way, I think the only two outcomes that would be good is if they tone it down significantly or just completely get rid of it. It cannot stay how it is. Controllers, there's zero remapping as of the alpha. Hopefully by the beta, there's remapping, and by launch, I pray there's remapping for just controllers. I couldn't even play controller. I play every game on controller that's a shooter on tactical, which is I crouch with my stick and I melee with B. And my muscle memory, I can't play that game on controller without that remap. Mouse and keyboard settings, keybinds, everything is borderline broken right now. Absolutely needs to be fixed. Again, that's what this alpha is for, is to fix things like that. But me and both my buddies have just run into problems with everything. You can't cancel heals. You once you start healing, you better pray you're behind cover or someone doesn't swing you, because you cannot cancel that heal. That needs to be changed. That is bad. There's too many sound effects going on. At this point, I know what most of them are. Some of them are pretty similar to other things, which throws you off. They all sound great. I think the sound design in this game is incredible, but there's too much going on whenever you're in any sort of populated area, whether it's AI or real people, whatever it is. There's just way too many sound cues. I think they need to like tone it back a little bit. There are a lot of items like valuables that can't stack, and I get it for a valuable that's like 1.5k that you're just gonna get $1.5 grand whenever you exfil, but something that's like $200 that's a valuable, there's no reason I can't stack like 3 of them at the very least. I think there needs to be a little bit more leniency when it comes to stacking valuables, because even if you have a purple backpack, which is like, I don't know if there's a gold backpack. I've yet to see a single gold item. But the purple backpack, with the valuables, it makes it feel so cramped, even with the max backpack that I found so far. No proxy chat, very sad. I don't think they're ever going to add proxy chat. I think they should add proxy chat. I think it would make the game have a lot more life to it and have a lot more funny moments come out of the game. That's just me. If they don't want to add it, they're not going to add it, but I think they should personally. So I haven't messed with this. This came from somebody else giving feedback. And if this is actually a thing, this is definitely something that's very bad, is there's a whole upgrade system in this game, right? So you, as of right now, you have 3 factions. I think there's going to be 6 factions on launch, but you have 3 factions. And these 3 factions all have like an upgrade tree within them. The first one's like vault space, I think heals and backpacks and like something else, that as you level up that faction, you can get more upgrades, but you need materials from in-game on top of credits to actually purchase these upgrades. And what you can do is you can mark materials, and then whenever you're like looting or you find something on the ground, it'll be marked for you so you know that's what you need. But apparently you can only mark one thing. I haven't tried it yet. I've kind of just been like, have you guys seen that Peter Griffin meme where he's walking down the street. He's like legit frolicking. A loaf of bread, a gallon of milk, like that. That's how I am with these items. I understand why they don't have this. Again, it is still a nuisance. Back on that upgrading system is at one point my friend needed like 2 or 3 things. I had 2 or 3 things. I already got the upgrade, but I couldn't help him out because once you exfil with those materials, you can't put them back in your backpack to bring in and drop. I again get why they wouldn't want that because you can just boost friends. There could be paid services for boosting. I get it, but at the same time, that is something that I don't like. I get it. I don't think it's going to change. I just personally don't like it. I wish I could help my friends out with their upgrades, especially when they're first starting off, if I have extra materials that I'm not even going to use. Instead of selling them, I'd rather give it to them. One big thing since I've been playing Glitch, which if you don't know what Glitch's abilities are, at this point it's already probably played in the gameplay, but she's a very mobile character. She has like a super slide, she has a double jump, she has this thing that she shoots out of her wrist that does knockback and damage, and then her ult just speeds up everything. And then on top of that, you can use more of your slides, more of your double jumps. So she's a very mobile character. So with that, I've definitely experimented with all of the movement, front, backward, up, down, everything. Gave you guys a little cheat code there. But the movement up and down is a lot clunkier than the movement horizontally. And by horizontally, I mean just you running along a path, you running straight, you walking backwards, you running side to side, whatever it is. That's what I mean horizontally. By vertically, I mean just like scaling things. That double jump is, I feel like that vertical, especially coming off of Destiny. This is the same people that made Destiny. The verticality I notice a lot more because I play Glitch. And as of right now, it doesn't feel nearly as good as your movement on the ground. It feels a lot more clunky. It's the mantling. The mantling feels really inconsistent, and I guess that is on par for Destiny. But still, in something like this, I really, really hope that it just gets a little bit more polished. But that is something that I've noticed personally since I've been playing Glitch and I play very vertically. If we're in fights, it is a lot more clunky than just the horizontal movement. There's also one thing which you're not going to know if you haven't played the alpha, if you haven't got a code yet, is when you're in the menus and you're hovering over something, whether it's an item, a weapon, whatever it is, your cursor, that's usually an arrow, turns into a pointer finger. And that pointer finger goes up, down, up, down, up, down. It's like the pacer test. And it is the most annoying thing ever. I don't know why, but it throws me off and it makes the menu feel worse than it actually is. And there's no reason for it. I really hope there's just an option in the full release to just leave my cursor as that arrow the whole time, and or just make it a stagnant pointer finger. Please, please God. Another reason why I don't want to play controller is the ADS sense multiplier, which is, to be more specific, you have a sensitivity of 9.9. You have ADS sense multiplier of 1. That means when you ADS, your sensitivity is still 9.9. If you put it to a 0.9, it is 90% of 9. 0.8, 80% of 9. That multiplier doesn't work properly. No matter what setting I tried with it, it doesn't feel good. It does not feel correct. It does not feel like it's actually a just 1.0 multiplier. I didn't touch it at first because I'm like, this is just a 1.0. I'm just going to leave it as it is. That's what I do with most games. The lowest I'll go is a 0.9. And Valorant, I do a 1.1 for like high zoom scopes, for like snipers. But there's just an overall ADS sensitivity multiplier in this, and it doesn't work right. I couldn't tell you exactly what that is that's causing that. I don't know anything having to do with that. All I know is it's not working right. And the healing quick select, which I forget what it is on controller, for keyboard and mouse, it's the same as the heals. Instead of pressing it, you hold it and it brings up like a wheel. That thing feels horrible. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about it. The closest thing that I can describe it to is like the Apex wheel for your heals, but it doesn't feel nearly as good as that wheel. I hope that wheel just gets some more polish. It just doesn't feel good right now. And that's the only things I had for bad. We're done with the bad list that I had. My good list, number 1, feeling of the game, gunplay, movement, great. It feels so good. At first, it can definitely feel really slow, but once you like start clicking with your character, start like getting a weapon that you like, you start understanding the movement, start learning the maps a little bit, it feels so good. Like it feels so good. And then with the clicking with your character, once you start clicking with your team, every character's abilities mesh so well with the other characters. Like the character Blackbird is like a pre-nerf Bloodhound. It's like a pre-nerf Bloodhound ult is Blackbird's ult, or in this game it's called your prime ability. And then you pair that with Glitch, the character that I play that's very mobile. When you pop Glitch's ult, she's extremely fast. She's really good at flanking. She's really good at getting to new positions. So you pair that with that pre-nerf Bloodhound ult. And there's another character, Void, which specializes in smoke, invisibility, things like that. And then Void can also reposition. You guys can close off the enemy from every single side as long as you play your abilities right. They all mesh so well together. The design and just the art and the art direction is incredible. As stupid as it's gonna sound, I've said it multiple times to friends. I don't know how else to explain this game, but the moment that I watched the cinematic trailer, I had the same feeling as seeing Destiny or Halo for the first time. Seeing Halo as a kid, I was still a kid when Destiny first came out, a little bit older when Destiny 2 came out, but Marathon has like re-sparked that feeling. Halo and Destiny, I absolutely fell in love with all the characters, the lore, all the enemies, the worlds, how in-depth they were, how in-depth every single character you are and or you're fighting, just all of them. Their lore is so deep and interesting. And that's the same feeling that this game gives me. And I don't know how else to describe it besides that. And it's dumb because it's Bungie and I'm comparing it to Halo and Destiny, obviously. But if you're a Halo and Destiny nerd and you've played a ton of those games, and that's the thing that you enjoy about those games, I promise that Marathon is probably going to be the same thing. The next thing I have down is the indoor/POI environments. Those visually are incredible. Again, once you leave them, it doesn't look good. But the inside areas, the tunnels, the actual POIs themselves, graphically, visually, art-wise, they look amazing. Once everything is polished up for either the beta and or the full release and we actually have the final textures, we have the final lighting, we have everything, I trust Bungie to make some of the most beautiful environments in just gaming. Whether you like Destiny or not, just look at the environments of Destiny. I trust them with my life to be able to do something like that with this game. I know in my gameplay, I think I got touched by some of the bots, bro, straight up. But I think the bot difficulty where it's at now, the lower tier bots, like the gray and green shield bots, definitely need a little bit of upped difficulty. I feel like they're balanced well for solos, but once you're with multiple people, they're straight up cannon fodder, bro. They just waste some of your ammo. That's it. Once you get to like the higher tiers, like the purple shields, I don't know if there's a step above that. I know there's the whole thing with the marathon ship where obviously that's going to be more PvE, which if you don't know about that, it has something to do with surviving to the end and doing something and you get sent up to the marathon ship instead of extracting. And I think that's going to be more PvE focused rather than PvP. And I would assume the bots would scale up significantly there because people that tested it before said that shit is hard. But I think the higher tier bots are scaled really well, especially for team play. They're a little bit too much for solo here and there, especially if there's a lot of bots. But then on the other side of the spectrum, the gray and green shield bots are nothing in a team. They definitely need a little bump in their difficulty. Next thing I have down is about PvP. Actual fights and team fights are the perfect length right now. Perfect length. They're not too fast. They're not too slow. They hit that perfect sweet spot that every single engagement, no matter what it is, feels good. Obviously, there's times where a team can roll up on you and absolutely curb stomp you, or vice versa. You can roll up on a team and absolutely curb stomp you. But on average, those fights and those interactions with other players, lengthwise, are perfect. Which then also goes into the TTK. The TTK with weapon rarities is so unbelievably balanced. Like obviously if you have like a blue weapon, it has a ton of attachments on it, you're going to benefit from that, but that doesn't mean that you can't hold your own with a gray weapon. It's going to be harder, and if you're a better player, you're going to have a better chance, but having those higher rarity weapons feels rewarding to use. But I think the TTK is balanced. I think it's great where it is, especially, bro, if you've been hit by that sniper, Jesus. I think it one-shots you if you have gray shield, if they get a headshot. The next one I have is the gameplay loop. The gameplay loop in the alpha is great. It's addicting. There's a faction upgrade system, there's your contracts, there's your loot, there's RNG events, like there's just events that have a chance of spawning in. The weather is different every single time you load in. Like the gameplay loop is addicting. If you haven't played it and you doubt that, again, I think it's only something that you can really feel by playing the game. The gameplay loop is perfect. Like we only have 3 of the factions right now, and it's addicting. There's 3 more factions, there's 2 more characters, there's a whole other map, And there's just more content past that. The gameplay loop is great, and it'll be infinitely better on full release. The skill-based matchmaking has nothing to do with your recent games and is entirely based on your runner level. So if you're level 50, you go up against level 50s or people around level 50. If you're level 1, you go up against people that are level 1 or people that are around level 1. And then as you progress and as you learn about the game, you go up against people that are also at the same point as you, learning about the game, learning what to do, learning what these contracts are, what the factions are, what these upgrades are. I think it is a very good skill-based matchmaking system. And I think that is going to be something that's great for the health of the game later down the line, because it's not like, oh, I got all this crazy loot, I wiped 4 teams, and now you're paired with, now you're paired against Shroud, who just did a line and has a gold sniper and 360 no-scopes you across the map. That's not how this game works. It's if you had a good game, you went up from level 20 to 21, now you're paired up against people that are 21. The end. The gun models and the weapon designs, I personally love them. I think they look super cool. I think they look super unique. I'm really excited to see like how the higher rarities look, because I know even the blue ones, like they got a different look to them. So once you get to those higher tiers, oh, I'm excited. I'm also excited. I don't want to say I'm excited for cosmetics, but if there's like specific weapon skins that you can get, and or like, think like Call of Duty camos. Like if you can get like a wrap for assault rifles, like stuff like that, just to like put on your weapons, I think that would be super cool. The overheat mechanic, I think, is one of my favorite ability cooldown mechanics in a game. Which, if you don't know what the overheat mechanic is, your 2 trait abilities are tied to overheat. Your sprinting is tied to overheat. Your sliding is tied to overheat. Basically, as you do these actions, you generate more heat, and if that bar fills up, you overheat. You have to wait for it to go back down, and then you can do these things again. I personally love this system because it's not like I do glitches slide and I have to wait 5 seconds before I can do another one. If I wanted to, I could immediately do another slide. Or instead, I could do a double jump after that slide. Or I could do a double jump and then do a slide. Or I can do a double jump and then do another double jump. I love that freedom that you have with your abilities. I think that's a really, really cool mechanic, and that's one of my favorite mechanics in the game. Next thing I have is PvP, back to PvP, back to the engagements. I think the PvP engagements feel really rewarding when you win them, especially if those people have better weapons and or a weapon that you like that's super kitted, or they were holding upgrade materials that you needed. Either way, what they have and what enemies usually have, it feels very rewarding to win that fight. Obviously, there's going to be some times where they have absolutely nothing and you just roll the poor soul, but 99% of the time, those fights, whenever you get their materials and the extra materials that they had looting parts of the map that you didn't loot, it's going to feel very rewarding, especially with this upgrade system. I already talked about it, but the factions contracts and faction upgrades, that has made the gameplay loop so much more enjoyable, and there's a reason to go back in. And I don't know if this is how it works. If anybody's played Tarkov, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure on a wipe, which if you don't know what wipe it is, if you don't know what a wipe is, your vault gets cleared out. And like what would be the end of a season, your vault gets wiped out and everybody's back on the same playing field, which I think is a great mechanic to keep the game fresh. That's just my opinion on that. But does that also wipe your faction ranks? I would assume that would wipe your faction ranks and you have to go back through that, which then again, that restarts that gameplay loop. And it's not like that would be tedious. It's a fun gameplay loop. Dynamic weapons and dynamic weather and RNG events. Already talked about that. And they did an awesome job at taking these tedious, or what's usually tedious mechanics that are in extraction shooters, improving them, but not making it so they're holding your hand through it. Like there's still plenty of stuff that you have to figure out, and they leave room for you to learn and like grow and get better at the game. Now good's over, and we're to what it needs. These are the things that I personally think need to be added to the game. Either on launch, some point, it needs to be a thing. Not all these are mine. Some of them are other suggestions from other creators in the creator Discord. The first one I had was some weapon classes feel extremely lacking, and hopefully we get more variety. Which, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's one AR. The other are like precision rifles. Like we have like one AR and we have like 2, 3 SMGs, 2, 3, 4 pistols, 1 sniper. I hope there's more variety whenever the game launches. Again, maybe I haven't found everything, but that's just my day one, what I found, what I experienced. I just hope that there's more variety either on launch, or I'm just missing that more variety. There needs to be a more clear, like there needs to be a character voice line or a pop-up on the screen that you wipe the team. Especially if solos are going to play with trios, duos are going to play with trios. The game needs to communicate to you, or your character needs to communicate to you, that you wiped the team. because you kill one person. If they loaded in as a solo, you down them, you kill them. Now you're on edge looking for these 2 other people that don't exist. And same thing with duos. You kill 2 of them, you down them, you kill them. That third person, you're like, where is this guy? Like, is he looping around waiting for us to leave so he can res them? Like, where is he? But it was actually just a duo that loaded in. Now you're on edge for no reason. That is definitely something that they need to make more clear in game. And I feel like that's probably an easy fix. This is someone else's from the Discord. They said Tarkov has a hideout icon on items for needed upgrades, which if they translate that to factions for your upgrades, that would be perfect. They already kind of have it. They tell you that's like these things use it for upgrades, but I mean more like I'm hovering over it. Give me a little faction icon next to the name so I know who uses this upgrade material, just to make it faster so I don't have to think about it. I don't have to do all this reading or guess or like try and remember what I needed for upgrades. Just give a little icon in the corner or something just to make looting a little bit faster. This is another suggestion from someone else, but a search function in the vault would be great. Just being able to, okay, I need this for my upgrades, but let me check how many I have. Let me just search the name in my vault, please. Especially because those upgrade things are a single square and they hide. Back to canceling heals. You can't cancel heals, and it's infuriating. Let me cancel it by shooting or aiming or meleeing and balance it like how Fortnite balances it, where it's like a progression heal. And if I shoot or I aim or I do whatever it is to cancel that heal, it still uses that heal, at least to a certain degree, just not all the way, but I can cancel it because, oh my God, it's infuriating. Already talked about the valuables. You just need to let me stack the lower rarity ones, so at least 3 or 4, please. This is another suggestion from somebody else. Just post-match stats. How many bots you killed, how many runners you killed. Just a more in-depth breakdown. And then I built off that. Give me like Destiny 2 trackers, which if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say that, on your emblems you can place like trackers. You can see how many void kills you have, how many stasis kills you have, how many dungeon completions you have, like just trackers like that. For this game, it would be bot kills, runner kills, faction levels, how many purple weapons I've extracted with, or how many purple items I've extracted with. I think trackers like that could be cool, which then also goes into a Destiny emblem system, which based off the party tab that's in game right now, it definitely looks like we're going to get some sort of emblem system. I don't know if it's going to be the same as Destiny or work in the same way, but it looks like there is an emblem system, which then also going for these exclusive emblems would just add to that gameplay loop even more. Like give you an emblem for completing the marathon ship, and that would be the equivalent of like a raid emblem. Already talked about adding the icons to the weapons, or adding an icon to the upgrade materials just to, streamline and make that looting process a little bit faster. Already talked about the mouse and keyboard aim assist. Already talked about the audio design. I think it's great, but like there's a little bit too much going on sometimes. Already talked about the movement. It just needs to be smoothed up a little bit. I think horizontally, it's pretty much fine. Obviously, there's always room for polish, but vertically, it does feel very clunky. Also, the sliding, you slide into a crouch, which again is a very normal thing, especially with like Call of Duty. You slide into a crouch, but you can, at the end of that slide, hold crouch, go to prone. This game doesn't have prone, so it doesn't have that option. Or you can do like a jump mid-slide and you'll immediately go up and go back into a sprint. I want something like that in this game because I'll find myself in a slide and there is no way to cancel Glitch's slide. I don't know about the other characters, but you cannot cancel Glitch's slide. So I have to spam crouch. Once I get out of that, once I at least think I'm towards the end of that, and pray it stands me back up so I can keep at least some sort of momentum. But I think there just needs to be at least a setting for that, or it just needs to be a little bit smoother because it does not feel great. Give me a training area or a private match or just something to either test out weapons, test out runners, whatever it is. And then with that, also maybe having more PvP options. Again, it's not really needed, whether it's just like a free-for-all, like there's like a single free-for-all mode, or there's like custom games, like something like a free-for-all that you could do with friends. Like I think that would be super fun. That'd also be like really good for videos. I think that would be really fun to watch, just getting a bunch of people together and just having like a free-for-all, and or just having customs that are on the actual maps. You don't keep any of the loot, like you can all go in with like pistols and you can get like a bunch of people together and do something like that. I think that would be fun. The UI overall, especially when it comes to smaller objects, is very broken right now. That's something that will just get polish, but it is, again, that's just feedback. It definitely needs polish. Like the UI needs polish. And then exactly what I wrote about this little pointer finger. Please, oh my God, let me turn off the quirky little pointer finger in the menus. Aesthetically, it's cool, but an option to turn off this little finger menu cursor in any section, please. It drives me crazy. It just moves up and down and it throws me off and it's just so unnecessary. If you want to keep it on, or if you like it, cool, just let me turn it off. And then the last thing that I have here, the last thing that I'm going to say, and the last thing that I wrote down is, last but not least, before it gets too bloated, at this point it was already 4,000 characters, and I've obviously been talking for a minute, but healthy support from the community and the marathon team when wipe comes, new runners come, new maps come, content updates, etc. If there's that healthy support, the game will thrive. I personally genuinely think the base game, mechanics, gameplay, gunplay, and just the gameplay loop is one of the best PvP titles, one of the best multiplayer titles I've played in a very, very long time. And if there's love and care from the Bungie team, and there's love and care from the creators and the community that play it and support it, it is going to be a great game long term. It absolutely has its issues, nobody is denying that, but once that polish is there, once these things that need to be added are added, the game's going to be incredible. But, you know, y'all form your own opinions on the game. I personally think it's great. I think it's going to do great. I think if Bungie supports it, all these people support it, it'll be a great game long term. I think it's going to be an incredibly fun game. I think it is exactly what the extraction shooter genre needs. It's definitely not casual, but it's definitely not as hardcore as something like Tarkov, and I personally hope the game does well.